Hello, everybody. I'm excited to have Ryan Holiday, Coach Ryan Holiday of Next Level Basketball Academy here. Welcome, Coach.
Welcome. Glad to be here.
So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into coaching, and your background?
Sure. Started coaching really as a player. Played basketball competitively through high school, and was one of those types of players that was a player, a point guard, and a coach on the court, and loved it. And started coaching early, youth basketball, and really got heavily involved when my son started playing youth basketball uh, 8, 9 years ago, and have engulfed myself in it ever since.
All right. So, tell us why you started Next Level Basketball Academy.
Okay, yeah, Keith, that's a great question. So through all these years of coaching, going to clinics, studying the game, taking college classes on basketball coaching. One of the things I found, Keith, is that all these kids love to play, but they are not always practicing the skills and doing the things to become better players. And there's a huge void in the game of basketball, certainly in the United States, but you can see it in other countries as well. So this is universal. Kids are playing a lot of games. Kids are loving that competition. Coaches love it. Parents love it. But kids aren't spending the time in the gym actually becoming better players. So, that really was one of the driving forces to give kids and parents and coaches the ability to learn these skills to become better, and to have it right at their fingertips. Myself as a player, I was highly driven, Keith. I was motivated, but I didn't know how to practice. I didn't know what to do. And I was a good player, but could have been a great player. And I don't want to see I don't want to see young players go through that. And the other thing, Keith, is I don't like to see coaches waste a player's entire season. Kids only have so long to develop as players, and they can't afford to miss a season of development. And I see it all the time. I see teams where the coach is misguided, drawing up plays and just not getting the most out of the season. And that's really what inspired me, is to help those coaches and those players focus on the things that they should be focusing at the appropriate age.
So,
I know it's a long-winded answer, but there's a lot to why I wanted to do.
yeah, I know. There's a couple questions in there. I want you to elaborate a little bit more. Like, what are those missing skills? How do you waste a season? Like,
Okay, so the missing skills is a lot of times you'll have a young player that is tremendously athletic. They're stronger, they're faster, they're quicker, so they can make plays at a lower level. All they do is they go and they play those games and they make those plays, but they're missing how to cross over. They're missing the appropriate form on a shot. So they can score as a young player because they're more athletic, because they just get to the basket. But once they play against a good coach, a well-coached team that helps defense and closes down the middle, they don't have another answer, because they've always just been able to become more athletic than everybody else. But once the talent level levels out and they're playing against good coach teams, they don't have a developed jump shot. They don't have a move that can create space. They've got a good defender on them and they don't know how to do a step back. They don't know how to use a pump fake. Or they're a big, tall player, but they don't have a post series move. They don't have any moves down in the post. They don't know how to space the floor right. So there's a lot of things that the kids need to learn, things that they need to work on, that inspired me to do Next Level Basketball Academy. And as far as wasting a season, it happens all the time. Coaches will spend 85% of their practice running through plays that will not transfer the next season. So here's a kid that spent his entire his fifth or sixth or seventh or eighth, whatever grade it is, they spent their entire season running and learning plays, and then the next year they have a new coach and they have all new plays. So they never really got better. They didn't become a better shooter. They didn't become a better dribbler. They didn't understand help defense positioning off the ball. They didn't understand the game at a higher level, and they wasted a season. I see it all the time. It's unfortunate. And usually that transcends because the coach wants to win every game, and that can help that coach win in a short term. They can win more games by doing it, but it hurts the players long term. So I really think there's a balance. In youth coaching, there's a balance of trying to win games, but also understanding your goal is to develop the kids and help them become better players for the future.
That's great. So let me kind of recap and see if I get what you're saying. You're saying player development, skill-wise, is more important than practicing team concepts like formations and plays like that, right?
Yeah, and I would say the younger the age, the more, us at Next Level, we believe you should be doing skill development. As you progress and get older, then team development, starts to become more and more important each year. But certainly in fourth grade, skill development trumps plays and offensive sets and all those things. In fourth and fifth and sixth grade, even middle school, there's got to be a balance, even if it's 50-50. But I think the thing that a lot of coaches miss is, they don't teach the kids how to finish in transition. They don't teach them how to finish through contact. They don't practice those things. They don't practice proper shot mechanics and working with the kids, because that's, it's a pure shooting shot takes a long time to learn and a lot of practice. It doesn't just happen overnight. The good shooters doesn't happen overnight. And, a lot of times coaches aren't focusing on those things because, Keith, they're trying to win games and they're just working on their offense and their plays. And I think that can be a mistake. Not to say that you don't have to have offense and plays, because you do, because you want to win games and you want to be competitive. But that's what we focus on. We really want to teach help defense. We want the coaches, in our coaching packages and things of that nature. We want our coaches to learn the proper drills and the right things to get their defenses aligned and maximize their practice. That's the key, Keith, is, I can go to a coach and practice, and I want to see all the kids moving, everybody in a drill, lots of activity. If I see kids standing in lines waiting for one ball to pass, you're wasting time and you're wasting your season. So being efficient as a coach is not easy, and that's why having tools in front of you to make it easier can really be beneficial. So, you take somebody like myself who's done the homework, who has went to the camps, has went to the college classes, has done the scouting. I didn't talk about that, but, scouted players and did the video editing and done all these things. It's exciting to be able to share it so that somebody doesn't have to take 10 years or 12 years like it took me. It took me a long time to gain these skills, and the idea is get them quick. Get them right there quick. That's the idea. Don't take 10 years. Take a month. Learn all the stuff, and then be a good coach to your kids.
Awesome. So I'm going to go into specifics of the drills that you have, and I've used it with my team. First of all, there's some drills where I see players playing one-on-one, and your players, they can pull 2-3 moves consecutively. They can do it behind the back followed by a spin move, and at that age, it's amazing. Like, right. I'm always curious, how do you do that?
Right. So block by block, kind of like building a house. Some of those kids in the drills, not all of them. Some of them, I haven't worked with a lot. They're newer kids to my program. But a couple of them have been with me for years, and you can see those kids, because their skill sets are higher. And some of our videos, I purposely took skills at all different levels. Some kids that skills weren't very high and they were, not as good, and other kids who were very high level skilled. But the idea is we teach them one move individually, and then they learn that move, and then we teach them a move on top of a move. And what I always tell my kids is we're going to do it in practice, and we've got to get our reps in so that we can learn the move. So the next step in the process then is to do it in a game and understand you're going to fail. You're going to try it in the game. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to fail. It's okay. And then do it in a game and succeed. So there's a process that you go through to putting in a move to making it game ready. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of reps, and I think it gets down to the details of the move. Um, you want the footwork and all the different things within that move. You got to be really detailed, and coaches have to have those eyes. They got to be able to see all the details in those moves.
So my problem is this: I've used some of your drills and showed them like new. For example, your post series, right? You have a bunch of like jab step, drop step, hook shot. Now I show it to them, it's great, but then when they go and play a game, they stick with what they're comfortable with, and they don't try the new thing we just taught them.
Right. So, it's a kind of a rule that says you need roughly 500 reps without defense and proper footwork, formed properly. After that, you need about 500 reps with defense. So that's really intense defense behind them in a practice setting. They're still not ready. Then you take them into a game situation. I like to do the summer league or fall league, maybe not their main season, and you really push them and you give them, okay, your job is to perform that move 3 times this game. And you need to, don't worry about the success or the failure rate. Just perform the move. You have to perform it. And I'm pushing the kids. Now, when I do that, we're gonna lose efficiency. We potentially could lose some basketball games because kids are working on their skill development at that moment. That's really important to understand that as a coach, you have to let the kids fail, because once they've failed in that skill at an early age, it doesn't take long before that move becomes successful. And once they've gained it in the game and it's successful, it becomes part of their comfort zone. So there's certainly, from a coaching standpoint, you have to push them through that, but it goes through a process, and it goes through a progression of getting them into that. And I think from a player development standpoint, Keith, you have to walk them through and create that vision for them on how it starts and how it ends, and then encourage them. You really have to encourage them to take the move in the game, and then help them understand what it's going to take to make that one move game ready. Being a game ready shot takes a while. It's a progression to get there. And once the kid does one move and they get success in one move, you got them. From that point on, you got them, and they're going to follow your moves, and they're going to work incessantly to get the next move, because they just scored on a guy that maybe was faster, quicker, stronger, taller, whatever it is, but they're able to create space through that move. It gets them excited.
All right, so that brings me to my next question. So you've taught me how to do a specific drill, but there's so much to do in one season and so little time. How do I plan out my season? Like, let's say I want to teach one move. Do I teach it for 3 different practices, or like I spread them out every other week? Like, how do I plan this, and how do you approach it?
Yeah, so what I like to do is map out every single practice, and then take each practice. Hold on one second, Keith. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay, so I like to map out each practice. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
So map out each practice, and then have a category for each drill. This is team development offense. This is individual development defense. This is skill development and personal move development. And that's where your coaching philosophy comes in, where, what I say is, in a younger age, at least 50+% of your practice needs to be planned to be individual skill development, whether it's ball handling. The other thing too, as you're developing players, we believe you can't develop an offensive game if you can't handle the ball. So I don't care if you're a center or a forward or a big guy or a little guy, you have to be able to handle the ball to be able to do a move. So the two are connected. Now, understand when you spend a lot of time on player development move, it short term will cost you victories. It will. because your team chemistry and development and movement within your team isn't quite as efficient, but you're dedicating yourself to your players' development. And at a young age, I think it's critical. And I think it's important, and you'll actually get more out of your players because they'll really understand that you care about them and that you're trying to develop them as players. And you'll get better intensity on defense and hustle, and they'll win 50-50 balls, and they'll do a lot more for you because they know that you're really in their corner trying to help them become a better player. And that's the exciting part. So it really comes down to your plan. For me, I have things mapped out. I have those maps out. As you know, I have it mapped out on Next Level Academy. We also have it mapped out on Coachbase, right? So right inside the Coachbase app is the entire practice plan, which hopefully we get some time and we'll talk about how you use Coachbase and how you use Next Level and how the two work together.
Awesome. So another question I have is, do you separate your bigs with your guards, or everyone trains the same way and you mix it all together?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll try to do the majority of my training with them together, but there are times when I will break them out because the bigs are going to have just a little bit more progression with back to the basket type post series moves, and my guards are going to have a little bit more action of face up, man to man, and maybe my point guards are going to have more action at the top of the key, where the wings are going to have to learn better moves on the wings, and the bigs are going to have to learn a little bit down on the block. But I will say this, and I think it's very, very important, that at the young age, I think the earlier the age, the more I think coaches need to not classify players. And meaning you're a big guy and you're a small guy, or you're a guard or you're a center. I think they should just think of all the kids as basketball players. By high school, they're classified. You know this is a center and this is a forward and this is a guard. Maybe even by middle school, late into middle school. But earlier than that, I think it's in the coach's best interest. It's in the player's best interest. Bigs got to work on guard skills. Guards need to work on post skills, and I've had a lot of success with that. A lot of people question why I have some of my guards learning post moves. Well, Keith, you can, as a coach, just because a guy's small doesn't mean he can't play a post position based upon your offense. Because if I have a small guy out there, they're going to take their small guy and guard my small guy.
Right. And
I can still isolate that person on the block, and he can still go to work. So I do a lot of things as a coach where I'll isolate a player if they've got a strong, they're stronger than their other player, because I know they've developed a post-series game, and I can get them the ball right there on the block and go to work. And that's a lot of fun. So kids like that. So to answer, I know it's a vague answer, but basically, the younger the age, the less you separate. The older the age, the more you can separate. And I think it's because, the reality is, Keith, in youth, there's some kids that are big that won't turn out to be big. They're big in 3rd and 4th grade, but they're not big as time goes on.
Awesome.
But to wrap up the age group, from the coach's package, it's really high school and down. And from the player development side, freshman level, so 15, 16 years and down, depending on the skill level. For girls, it'd probably be high school and down. And then each year we're going to keep adding another level so that we focus on the next age. So each year we'll keep adding more. Now, some of the exciting things we're adding, some of our physical areas in the next couple weeks, we're going to be adding a whole jump series from a friend of mine who's worked with professional athletes, college athletes, and NFL players and basketball players, and we just finished a whole jump series. That's going to be really college level and behind. So some of the physical stuff is really, really high level. But the basketball skill stuff, we're going to keep that for right now, freshman level, under, and then keep adding from there.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach, so much for the interview. Learned so much. I'm definitely going to do the 500 reps on each new move. So everyone that's watching, you can either go to Next Level, check out all the great content they have, the drills, the videos. But if you want it on your iPhone to go on the court, we also have those practice plans in the Coachbase app. So thank you very much. Thank you, Coach.
Keith, it was great talking with you. I'm willing to do it anytime, and love the Coachbase app. I use it all the time as a coach for all kinds of things, the practice plan as well as the Coachbase app, and I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. Thank you.